Some major updates surrounding the Boston Red Sox in the offseason they have ahead of them, with involving some major stars: Max Fried, Corbin Burnes, and even Teoscar Hernandez. I'm here to break down all the bits and pieces on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, remember, if you're a part of the 85% currently watching this video, not currently subscribed to the channel, please stop, scroll down, click the subscribe button. Help us get to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We are so very close. Thanks to you guys and all the love and support you guys do show us. So thank you guys once again. But now let's get to it and break down the massive free agency updates post the Juan Soto saga coming to an end. Now, if you guys have been under a rock and not covering the game of baseball and up to date with the game of baseball through the last 72 hours, if you will, Juan Soto has signed the biggest contract in professional sports history, just north of $800 million if he decides to not opt out in 2029 after the fifth year of his contract with the New York Mets. Now, the Mets obviously outbid both the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, as well as possibly the Rays throughout the entirety of these contract negotiations up until the entirety of the last day. But now the more important conversation begins with the rest of the offseason actually beginning. I told you guys in previous videos before, with the Juan Soto speculation really boiling up, getting to the point right before he actually signed with the Mets, and we got the tweet from Jeff Passan confirming the idea that he was signing with the Mets on Sunday night. It was the conversation that once he goes, the rest of the dominoes are going to fall. Soto being the biggest domino. No one is really going to have a big offseason until that move is really taken care of. We saw that happen Sunday night on December 8th, yes. And once that happened, ever since then, we are starting to see a very massive pickup in the volume surrounding not only the Red Sox, but the entirety of the MLB. Now, the winter meetings did start on Monday, which was yesterday, December 9th. And with that, we now have massive quotes from Breslow as well as Cora discussing what this Red Sox organization really is going to look like going forward, and really who are we focusing on? Who are we going after? Is it a specific position? Is it a specific player? And here are the answers we have. Now, the first quote coming from Craig Breslow, as he was being interviewed by Tom Curran, and he was asked, or just in talks with Breslow on the aftermath of Juan Soto's free agency decision. And this is what Breslow went on to say, and I quote, "When there is this prominent generational player, it does impact the rest of the decision making. Now, I think there's a little bit more urgency in decisions and conversations." And again, this was Monday. Monday, December 9th, just yesterday. I apologize. I couldn't 100% tell what that date said. The font is very small, but again, yes, Breslow said this yesterday, and this is important because it seems like they are having conversations behind closed doors. The things are really picking up, regardless of it being to Max Fried, a Corbin Burnes, a Teoscar Hernandez, all of them, two of them, one of them, regardless of how many it actually is, it seems like, yes, the conversations are picking up. And now, besides Breslow, we had Alex Cora get on the stand, if you will, for 18 minutes and have a conversation with multiple different reporters, as he was just getting different question after different question after different question, where we got this answer. And again, this isn't the entirety of the quote, and I have the rest of it, which I'm going to highlight in just a second. But again, Alex Cora on fulfilling the team's needs with Soto off the table. Again, in response to Juan Soto not being a Boston Red Sox and no longer being on the table to possibly land with Boston, what do we do now? And he goes on to say, "There's a lot of ways to accomplish what we have set to do. Now it's up to us to execute and improve our team." And that's the end of the quote from Cora. But again, it's not the entirety of the quote. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because of how drastic the entirety of the quote actually is. And it goes as follows right here. And again, this is from Alex Cora discussing the need for starting pitching when asked if they were looking to acquire a frontline starter this offseason, and really if there are any in the mix. And he goes on to say this: "I think it's important at the end of the day. Our rotation did a good job last year, but the more the better. That's the way we see it, and we've been talking to a lot of people, a lot of guys. Like I said, now it's up to us to execute and improve our team." That is the entirety of the quote from Alex Cora. This is exactly what we want to hear. And the only problem with any of this is the idea that I thought I was going to start this video about an hour ago and pitch the idea that not only is Max Fried, but Teoscar Hernandez on the verge of possibly landing with the Boston Red Sox, but now just minutes before I clicked record on this video. Again, I was going to cite Ken Rosenthal, the one and only, who did write and publish this article just recently, again today, December 10th, titled Max Fried Nearing Decision with Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays Among Teams in the Mix. And again, post this article, he linked it, you click on it, it's a full in-depth article about how these three teams are very much involved with this starting pitcher in Max Fried, and what happened just a few minutes later. 5:47, Jeff Passan tweets this: breaking, left-hander Max Fried and the New York Yankees are in agreement on an 8-year, $218 million contract, pending a physical. Sources tell ESPN. It is the largest guarantee in baseball history for a left-handed pitcher. And again, this was posted today, December 10th, just about 90 minutes ago or so. This is huge. The reason this is so big is because, yes, the New York Yankees went out and got a player the Boston Red Sox were so heavily on in Max Fried. We needed a left-handed arm, especially to be in the starting rotation. Max Fried seemed like the best available option left on the in the offseason, in the free agency market, if you will. Blake Snell obviously was in connections to the Red Sox. He was signed by the Dodgers, and now the second best and the last dominant option on the free agency market in left-handed starting pitchers in Max Fried is no longer available, as the crosstown rival in the New York Yankees is now in partnership with Fried. Now, this is a problem for that reason, as well as the fact that there are, again, two things coming into this offseason that the Red Sox needed oh so desperately. The first one being starting pitching and really just pitching in general, and the second being a right-handed bat. Now, Teoscar Hernandez will break down in just a second and how that dream is not dead yet, but really close to actually being completed. But Fried, the left-handed arm. Now, it seems like the only way for this Boston Red Sox team to go out and get a dominant left-handed arm would be Garrett Crochet. Now, the problem with this is that Garrett Crochet, if we do trade for him, we are going to have to then extend him, which is not too bad because we'll be able to make the contract ourselves and offer it to Crochet. And again, it comes down to Crochet accepting that contract. But the thing with it is the fact that now Max Fried just got 8 years for $218 million. Garrett Crochet is much younger and has a lot of potential compared to someone like Max Fried. And with that, what is Crochet's market? Again, this is another budding question coming to the idea that we have to go out and acquire a left-handed arm. And it seems like because Max Fried is no longer available, Garrett Crochet is going to be the guy. But also, to literally tag team off of this idea, we have to also acknowledge the fact that Corbin Burnes is also available. Now, the Boston Red Sox weren't heavily involved with Burnes, it seems like up until this point. But again, Blake Snell and Max Fried, the two biggest names, as well as obviously Juan Soto, who did take up to this point in the offseason for not only the Red Sox, but other teams, are now no longer available. And the Boston Red Sox did not get any of them. So what do we do now? You have to go out and you have to make a splash and you have to get a starting pitcher on the lines of Corbin Burnes. Now, shout out to Chris Costillo as he posted this on X just today on December 10th, just about an hour and a half ago. Reporting with Sean McAdam, Red Sox made, and I quote, serious, end of quote, run at Max Fried, but the Yankees' $218 million bid was, quote, significantly ahead, end of quote, of Boston's per sources. Now Sox are readying an offer to Corbin Burnes. So again, they knew they missed out on Fried. They know they missed out on Blake Snell, obviously on Soto. Corbin Burnes is the last huge name in the pitching market, at least in starting for the starters. Now, obviously, Tanner Scott is still available and a few other big-name closers, and Jeff Hoffman, relief pitchers, obviously still available. Burnes is the last humongous name in the starting pitching market, and obviously the Red Sox need starting pitching so very badly. This would help us dramatically, because if we don't get Burnes, as well as missing out on Fried, Snell, and Soto, this is going to be as close to a failure of an offseason up to this point as we could really get. And again, that doesn't mean we couldn't still resolve and fix this problem and go out and acquire a bunch of good talent to propel us and really get us over the hump of not going out and acquiring these big name stars that we just listed off and mentioned. But also, let's not get to that point. Let's go out and acquire someone like Corbin Burnes. Let's pay a little bit of the tax. Let's give him 8 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, to then acquire him and maintain him on the Red Sox and really get the ball going and get these free agents signed. And I will say, to piggyback off of that, Teoscar Hernandez seems like it is a pretty close to I'm not going to say a done deal, but it's very, very close, it seems like, to him signing with the Boston Red Sox. Shout out to MLB Network, obviously, as they posted this. Whether it happens today or later on in the week, the Dodgers or the Red Sox are in good position to sign Teoscar Hernandez. And again, that is a quote from John Morrissey, who is then speaking about Teoscar Hernandez, one of the great right-handed batters in the league. And again, he just played with the Los Angeles Dodgers last season, was on a World Series team in the starting lineup, where he was a significant piece in that lineup, one of the biggest bats, one of the biggest factors from game to game, whether it be in the Padres series, in the actual Fall Classic, or in any of the games in between. Excuse me. I think Teoscar Hernandez could be that right-handed bat to put in between Devers and possibly Casas that the Red Sox so desperately needed at the top, if not in the middle of that lineup. I think he can hit for pop, obviously, as we all know. We saw it in the past offseason. But again, his ability to play in the outfield, you could put him at DH if you absolutely had to use the flexibility in the lineup. And again, he's not the greatest fielder, but he still has a great ability. And with that, the reason I'm heavily leaning towards him landing with the Red Sox is because of this. And again, this is brand new reports as of today, and it's a reassurance of something that we heard rumors of previously about Teoscar Hernandez and the Dodgers having a gap and really on what they're looking to find in the sense of what Teoscar wants in a contract and what the Dodgers are really offering him. There's a gap in between those two, resulting in Teoscar not being a Dodger as of today. And again, they are not slowing down. They're going out and acquiring more and more and more talent. They just went out and got Michael Conforto, another outfielder. So do they really want to bring back someone like Teoscar? Probably due to him having the experience, him playing there last season, him being just the character that he is. Again, he's in a very good position. He had a great year last year, winning the home run derby, being involved in it. Seems like with that, he's in a great position to get paid this offseason, and I think the Boston Red Sox are going to be the team to do that and go out and acquire a right-handed bat. So in review, we missed out on Fried, we missed out on Snow, we missed out on Soto, and we are looking like shit up to this point. But we have the opportunity to go out and get Hernandez as well as Burnes and really capitalize on this offseason. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. I will see you guys on the next episode of Red Sox Digest to break down all of the new moves.